Aloha champions, and welcome back to another science video. We're still talking about fossil fuels and how we use natural resources to power our world. In the last video we talked about different types of fossil fuels, and in this video we're going to explore a little bit more about how humanity uses those fossil fuels to progress and power our civilizations. So, without further ado, we're into Unit 5.3, Using Fossil Fuels. Our big question for today that we want to answer is, what are some costs and benefits of using fossil fuels? Okay. People burn fossil fuels to release the energy that they contain. We rely on fossil fuels to generate the energy we use in our everyday lives. Look under the hood of an automobile running on gasoline or diesel fuel. You will see and hear the moving parts and feel the heat rising from the engine. There are many costs and benefits of burning so much fossil fuel on such a large scale. There are also costs and benefits in how these fuels are extracted from Earth's crust. And there are costs and benefits in how the resources are transported, processed, and transformed into usable energy. All this activity accounts for a large part of the world's economy. It is hard to imagine life without these fuels, but for use of them is relatively recent. On the scale of Earth's history, using fossil fuels has had a major impact on the environment. The costs of using them give us reasons to consider using some renewable energy resources. Extracting petroleum. Petroleum is found only in some locations on Earth's surface, but most of what has not already been extracted is trapped under layers of rock. Some of this rock is on land and some is on the ocean floor. After geologists identify an area that might contain petroleum, engineers use drilling technology to break through the rock and get it. Before drilling through the rock, engineers must understand how much pressure the oil is under. They need to figure out how that pressure will be controlled. The weight of thousands of meters of seawater and many meters of rock on top of all that petroleum can cause oil to explode out of the crust unless the well is controlled. This means that all of the equipment that is going to extract, control, and gather the oil must be in place and ready to work before the extraction begins. These are some of the costs of drilling for oil. Here we have an oil tanker set out in the ocean that is going up in flames because an accident happened with all the pressure of that oil. Transporting petroleum. Once an oil deposit is tapped, the oil needs to be collected and transported. If the rig is on land or close to shore, a pipeline can carry the oil to a refinery. But a spill from a pipeline can damage the environment. To some people, allowing a pipeline to be built is a chance to make money and add jobs to the local economy. This is a benefit. To others, a pipeline represents an environmental risk that is too great a cost. Oil rigs that are far out to sea rely on oil tankers. These are ships that take oil from a rig and carry it elsewhere. But oil tankers can experience accidents too. Oil tankers have run aground, capsized, sunk, and been captured by pirates. All of these things can add to the cost of transporting oil. Here we have an example of an oil pipeline moving across terrain with thousands of gallons of oil being pumped through to be refined. Refining petroleum. So first we have to find it, then we have to transport it, now we have to refine it. Petroleum refinement separates petroleum into different forms of liquid oil. The different products can then be burned to generate mechanical, electrical, or thermal energy. Or they can be turned into petroleum products such as plastics and asphalt. So here we have our rigs, whether it's on land or at sea, digging out the oil. Next, the oil is heated and different components of oil boil at different temperatures. Vapors of propane, kerosene, and other parts of the oil enter a tall tower rise and then condense back to liquids at different parts of the tower. The different liquids are then collected and directed out of the tower to be stored or diverted to other parts of the refinery. So a lot of things come from pure petroleum. It depends on how we refine it. Gases and thin oil collect at the top of these towers. Liquid and thicker oil collect in the middle, and the stickiest oil stays at the bottom. The separated liquids can also be transported to other locations to be processed into other products. For example, some of the components of the synthetic rubber in a basketball are produced by refining petroleum. Nylon, a plastic that is used in clothing and countless other products, is another product of the petrochemical industry. So your oil pumps into this tower. At 350 degrees Celsius, you get bitumen, which is a component of asphalt. 300 to 350, you get lubrication oil. So if you have to change the oil of a car, this is where that comes from. A little bit colder, 250 to 300, you get fuel oil, which powers your big tankers out at sea. You have diesel oil from 220 to 250. Paraffin, which forms kind of a waxy substance, makes that we can use into plastic components and or jet fuel. Naphtha, which is kind of a natural gas, and gasoline, and anything cooler than gasoline becomes petroleum gas. So all depending on how hot or cold it needs to be, it will separate out and can divert to different lines that go to very different purposes. Another type of fossil fuel that we read about in chapter 2 was coal, and the same kind of steps have to go into place for using coal. You have to find it, you have to extract it, you have to transport it, and then you have to use it. So, coal mining. Coal is a solid that must be mined. This means it must be dug out of the ground. Coal continues to provide heat for homes and cooking, as well as heating iron ore to produce metal objects. These are some of the benefits of coal. There are many costs to coal mining as well. It is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. Mines can be filled with poisonous or explosive gases. They can also collapse, trapping miners underneath. When washed or burned, coal can cause pollution, and coal can be transported by train, truck, or ship. These are less likely to result in an environmental disaster. However, some coal dust can escape into the environment if coal is not properly transported and stored. Here you have a cart full of miners, and this is going to bring them in thousands of meters into the mine, where they're going to take their pickaxes and pick away to mine more coal. Natural gas, the third type of fossil fuels, can be extracted, transported, and refined, much like coal and petroleum can. Natural gas is often found where petroleum is found. It is common for the extraction of the two fuels to occur together. A drilling operation may first draw out the gas at the top and then proceed to remove the liquid below. Like petroleum, natural gas can be directed into a pipeline or onto a large ship to transport the gas for processing. Large pipelines transport large quantities of gas across regions. Smaller networks of pipes carry gas to individual buildings. Many homes or businesses use natural gas for heating. This is one benefit of natural gas. Natural gas also pollutes less than other fossil fuels, but it still pollutes. Typically, gas-powered heating systems have underground gas lines connected to a main line that runs under a street. Burying the pipes helps protect them from being damaged. A broken pipe can become a fiery hazard if the gas is ignited. This can be both dangerous and costly. All of these fossil fuels can be burned, and burning fossil fuels has many costs and benefits. Fossil fuels can be turned into many different products, but mostly they are burned for energy. They help heat our homes and cook our food. They also help power engines and provide electricity. When fossil fuels are burned, the chemical parts react with oxygen in the air and become new substances. The chemical products of the reaction are mostly released into the atmosphere. This affects Earth's systems. Burning any fossil fuel produces carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gases trap heat on Earth's surface, and the more carbon dioxide there is in the atmosphere, the hotter the planet becomes overall. This is a serious cost of burning fossil fuels. Many scientists have stated that large-scale burning of fossil fuels is causing Earth to get warmer. Carbon dioxide that dissolves in water also makes water more acidic, which can make life difficult for animals such as corals and clams that live deep in the ocean. Okay? A vocabulary term to remember is a greenhouse gas is a gas that traps heat in Earth's atmosphere. So, in this chapter, we talked about the costs and benefits of coal, petroleum, and natural gas. We talked about the processes that go through extracting, transporting, and refining these things and what those things can be used for. So thank you for tuning into this video. You have 5 to 10 questions to answer on Google Classroom about this video. Thank you for your time. I hope you stay awesome, and I will talk to you real soon.